You snuck in on me. I see you. I said it's fine. The PowerPoint.
All right, guys, we're live. Okay, all right. I'd like to call tonight's work session to order. Mr. Toad.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to do an invocation?
Sure.
Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time to come together to hopefully work, Lord, in your behalf, in your favor. We ask that you bless those in this meeting and those here in the county, the state, and in this nation, Lord. We ask you to give us mindset to new things that will help this county thrive. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. If we could rise to the pledge of allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for that. I love the way Mr. Abbott does the all right, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. All right, the historical marker is Mr. Thompson.
No, sir. Mr. Chairman, he had called and said that they have a meeting tonight at the Burke County Council. And so he'd like us to reschedule. And of course, he also will let us reschedule our meetings, which is on the agenda for number 12. But anyhow, but I did put in your packet. I appreciate Ms. Kelly doing some homework on that. Basically, what he's going to ask the board to do is to see if we can relocate the marker for Elegant Avenue into Berkeley. Two things I just want you to be aware of, and that's, I know we need to listen to the presentation. Two things you'll be aware of. That is right there. Mr. Ingram and I were talking about it, and all the time about a few minutes, but it's right there in front of Hooper Park.
That's right.
The reason why that sign is placed in that area, we're pretty sure because of traffic count, and also because of T.O. Sandy, which is about 10 feet from it. If you look at some of your history there, in 1910, Sandy hired Elegant Avenue and for the nation's first home demonstration agent. And by the way, Sandy opened an extension office in Berkeley, Sarah Palmer. So that's in 1907. So the reason why that's there is because it's the side person that's hired and blah, blah, blah. And I just want you to be aware of that. There's a process. He wants that sign relocated to Berkeley. There's a process to get that done. And maybe it's costly enough where you might be better off to order another sign. Two things I want you to think about. That sign is no longer in the county. That sign is located in the town of Crewe. And also the mayor of Berkeley didn't know anything about this on the town council. So I don't know if he has the support of the whole council, but that's here or there. He still requested.
Yep.
So anyway, I just want y'all to be aware. So we're going to probably line him up to come
First at the next work
Yeah,
session?
right.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, and we won't make any more copies. Just keep that for you. For your own doing.
Okay. All right. The surveys for the building permits.
Mr. Chairman, the number 4 and number 5, I'm hoping to we're looking at this as a process change, and just so you're aware of, I don't really know right now, do we need any vote? Mr. Bowles is here, and as well as Christy Hudson is here, our commissioner. One thing we're finding out, it's happening. People, so first of all, let me back up. When a homeowner starts, they want to put a house up, and I think Bo and I talked a little bit about this. The bank really tells you if you put if you're borrowing money for a house, they're gonna want a survey somewhere along the line. And what we are finding out, some houses, and back in years ago, there's houses on other plots that's not. I don't know. People think their house is on their land, and that may not be true. And we're finding that more and more. So Nick, which I don't know if he's going to do laptop or he's just coming and doing it. You're just doing it. So Nick and I had a conversation. I met with Christy, we're talking about possibly it's a process change, and I want y'all aware of it, because I don't want to make things too complicated. And Nick, you can come in, but when someone comes to get a building permit, we think we should have a question on that that says, has your land been surveyed? And let me back up one more time. Has your land been surveyed, and has it been recorded? That's where the miscommunication. People, a lot of citizens think, hey, I got my land surveyed. Yes, it's been recorded on this, on my right here. But they got to take that to the courthouse. If you pay the surveyor, they'll do it. But some people say, well, I'll do that myself, and it never happens. So Ms. Hudson don't have a clue about the house and whether it's on the right plot or not. If anything,
In certain times, if you buy a parcel like where I live at, it was bought by the gross and bounds, which is different than a 5-acre lot. And you know that it goes to state, right, such and such, to Bland Creek in the center, and so it's bought by gross and bounds. You still would get a lawyer's title opinion to be, to look over it. But in that case, and that was done with the mortgage when I first bought it, and they did not require a survey because it was bought by gross and bounds, and it was enough land that there was no question as to whether the house was on the right parcel.
Your title insurance will have a survey exception, which means if there's a problem later that would have been found by a survey,
That they would pay out
they're not gonna pay it
unless it's surveyed.
because it had an exception.
Okay. Bo, those gross and bounds, is that the same thing as in?
Well, it's meets
Meets
and
bounds.
bounds.
Meets and bounds.
Meets and bounds.
Yeah, is that sort of the same thing when they say like 10 paces to this stump?
Yes.
That's okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff.
Also, chop lines on the north side.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
It's a lot of different description. Axle, like on mine, axle to the, and in defense of what you said, there was a little bit of discrepancy of where the property line was, not for me. I knew it went to the center of the creek by old sketching, but a survey came in and somebody bought some land behind me.
Yep.
And moved past what I thought was the line.
Yep.
There, they had title insurance, I did not. So I got the back survey, and I could have filed against title insurance, which would have made hard feelings with the neighbor, who later on ended up selling to me anyway, so I was glad I did.
Right.
But that's just a prime example.
The question is, are you gonna make a 300-acre tract get surveyed for a business?
no, I think that's what we say, that we're not planning to do. We don't want to create a hardship. But, if they check no on that's the questions, I guess I wanted to tell you about the process. I need something for a red flag to show up. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
so they're acknowledging, look, it ain't no survey, I still elect to do it this way, and if the shortfall comes back, it'll be on me. Because I said it was not a survey done, I didn't want to pay for a survey. But a conventional mortgage on 5 acres is gonna require a survey,
Right.
right, Mr. Banker?
We will not lend with a survey exception anymore because of these
Okay.
things.
But not on the large tract, right?
Um,
Still want a survey.
Boundary survey?
Man, they told me they charged me $12,000 for a survey. I told them to have this day.
What can I ask this? Because I don't want to seem like, in other words, if I got the vibe of this board right, we want to fix problems. We want to fix it. Where does this lie at? Is this shortfall in staff there? Is it treasurer's office,
The one
commissioner's office?
they're talking about was down Hungrytown Road. And there's a house on a parcel that was not assessed as having an improvement on it until there was a problem. It's one of the parcels went to the tax sale. So a piece of land sold to the tax sale. There's somebody living there in a house
On the wrong
on
property.
the wrong property.
Right.
And of course, we've seen them, where the line goes down the middle of the house. We've seen them, we have setbacks, we have required setbacks, which means there's gotta be a survey to locate a house on a small tract. So that they know they're meeting setbacks. So that, the problem with Hungrytown Road, we have to decide what we're doing with that. I think anytime that you're concerned about setbacks, on 300 acres, you're not. Put the house up in the middle of the pasture. So it's a definition of dimensions.
Yeah,
How long that person's been, how old the house roughly is and how long has it been there?
I think since, 1970?
1970.
That leads me to this question, and certainly I'm not an attorney, but if I maintain a fence line that is off of my property to my adjacent landowner, there's a law called adverse of possession. After about 7 years, I can possess that land that I maintain that fence unless the adjacent property owner cost share that fence with me, paid for the materials and labor. So surely you have to talk to an attorney that if that person's been living there, it's gotta be some kind of law that they can get that house.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. All right, so, all right, so I'm gonna give an ignorant example here. All right, so what I'm saying is, kind of follow with this. I had a guy who loved to do puzzles. Okay, now he told me, he says, John, I don't know where to start with this puzzle. All right, so he tells me that it's, and I said, what are you working with? It's a puzzle of a rooster, and I can't figure out where to start. So I said, all right, when I come through there, I'll stop. So I stopped by there one day. I said, all right, where is it? So he takes the puzzle, dumps it completely out of the box, dumps the whole puzzle. Says, see, I don't know where to start. And I told him, man, I said, well, listen, put the cornflakes back in the box. Follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All right, so now you told me what your problem is and we can fix it. So all I'm saying is, where's the problem so we can fix it? You know,
Yeah, and I see where you headed, Mr. Chairman. So took me a while to catch up with you. Sometimes you leave me and then I'm still at the gate.
Greg's still eating the cornflakes.
So,
He think I give him the ball.
so I think the first thing, so so we're trying to prevent from something happening again. That's one thing that, and I'm just letting you know, we're gonna work and try to see, this is gonna be a learning curve for us, because I asked Ms. Hudson that this has never happened before. Right? Okay. The second part of that is, we got two people who bought parcels and they want the money back.
That's right.
Okay, because that's not what they thought was being sold. Okay. So, and that's what I'm asking you maybe to form an ad hoc committee to look at this, or just one person. And I kind of asked Bo Toby the other day, can you help me? No, but he said he would help. But, and that's the other question. Normally Ms. Hudson sends us something, erroneous charges, assessments, whatever, and then y'all refund money back. This is a entirely different baby. Okay. First of all, from my understanding, and by the way, Ms. Tammy Rayford was invited here today. I was hoping she was here. Anyway, my understanding is when these what do you call it, non-judicial tax sales happen
From her.
from her, when she receives that money, she can't. It's not our money yet.
Correct.
So
Because of disputes.
right. You have so much time. So really, it's not. I'm kind of the process problem is. I don't even think I can ask y'all to refund the money because it's not your money yet.
I got it.
You with me? And I don't want to get tired of more lawyer fees. Why can't we just, if you bought a piece of land from the county, you thought it was that and it's the wrong thing, you want your money back, why can't we just give that money back?
If they got a good enough reason and the money, is it sitting in escrow?
Yeah, it's sitting there.
Escrow.
Treasurer office. On the front of that tax sale, there's a disclosure memo. You know what it says. Buyer beware, you be sure what you're buying before you raise your hand.
Yeah, it should mention the only thing guaranteed is a clear title. If it was a James Elliott sale, 100% you get a clear title. If there's a $10 million medical bill against the property, 100% you get a clear title.
The letter to, and I'll share the letter to Mr. Rayford from Jim Elliott, it says in here, he goes, he explains, it appears that the parcel may be assessed incorrectly and has an improved house on the property. That's how he looks at it. He doesn't,
So our assessor missed that this house.
Missed the whole
was on
house.
property.
or
Can you imagine being the person living in that house though, and getting a knock on the door talking about, this is my house now? Can you imagine that? We can't have that.
and I don't want to use,
Tax
and
record.
I don't want to use,
record from the lady or man who's living in the house or family. Have they
Their
been paying?
family.
Have they
So
been paying?
yes,
The
on the
people living in the
house.
house,
Yes.
been paying improvement.
Yes.
So there was improvement
But
marked
they were
on it.
paying, but they're paying on lot,
It's a different
Like
lot.
lot one instead of lot two.
so
Right.
they thought the house was on lot 8 or 9.
And
Right.
it come find out
It's
it's
on
not.
lot
It's
7.
not, right.
And lot 7 was.
Lot
sold
7,
for taxes.
lot 7, no tax.
It's on the wrong lot.
So once you
completely.
refund them the money, then what do you do to?
well, that's the third broken bond, right? I mean,
Well,
try to
this
keep them
happened-
having
I had this
again.
happen to me. Brother put his double wide on the sister's lot. And Bank of America had a lien against the empty lot. And so we found that out, and the family got together, they had to resurvey and redeed deeds again, get it straight again. Now, these are, everybody unrelated down there now, or is there still some family?
it's two brothers that bought the parcels that were up for auction. The house that we're 100% certain is on the wrong lot is the sister. And that was.
She lives there?
She does live there, and that was, she got that by will, I do believe.
She didn't get it. She got the empty lot by will,
She got the house by will.
the house.
Mhm,
House is real estate, it's tax lien.
mhm.
So she needs to get a deed of gift from the brother. Gives her the land.
If he don't owe no money on it. If he owes the money on it, he can't do that.
Right, that's right.
I think,
But I
right,
mean, I know the other one I had, Bank of America was involved. They had to get involved to get their legal description because deed of trust was involved.
Right.
So if there's money, I mean, they've got to deal with their bank to get it straight.
And that might fix that one,
That fixes that.
but not the other.
But that's not
one.
our responsibility. Either.
Right, but then there's another one down the road that is also on the wrong lot because of this house up here being built on the wrong
So it makes another house being wrong.
it was a chain reaction.
lot. Mhm.
It's a mess. And the woman, let me, I'm a woman, I'll just say, the person living in the 1970 house does not know right now the situation. or
We know,
Yeah.
we have explained to her what we think happened back in 1970 because there is some swampland where the house should have been built, but obviously you can't build on swampland. And this is all assuming because we're not 100% sure, but we're thinking that that person just slid over a little bit to where it was buildable.
So these lots probably was owned by one person or one family,
It was
and
a
these
19
other people are the heirs of it.
Probably.
So they could have left
1920
89 people.
That's possible. I haven't. done that
1920
research.
plat.
Yeah, we have a
1920
1920 plat. Mhm.
So
Yeah, let's get these people the money
the
back.
one that you were,
Yeah.
the one that you were concerned about, it was correct, I think.
The one down the road.
Her first name starts with J. I
Are you sure?
said what did
I don't
you-
think hers is right.
think it is.
You think so?
Because I was involved with the house on lot 24.
Okay.
And when you look on Google Earth,
Mm-hmm.
I know where 24 is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's open land,
Mm-hmm.
wooded land.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of the sale. And then there's the letter J,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And then there's another strip of county land.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's correct.
Okay. She might be. I'll have to go back.
If
and
you look on
look.
Google Earth, you can very easily see.
But we also have a surveyor that is saying that,
Well, he went off our, but he went off our GIS, which is wrong.
No, you can't go up
no,
there.
he went out there. Well, he went out there and looked at it too.
So he went and found some stars and stuff.
He went out
Oh,
there.
wow.
I don't know what all he did when he was out there.
I
but he
haven't
did
talked,
go
I haven't talked to him yet,
Okay.
but this one's still
Yeah, I don't
showing.
know who did that one.
This was one that
That's
these-
the one that
the
I.
folks,
sent
the folks that, bid on the properties, they
you.
did.
That they did.
But he carried the error in from our GIS,
Mm-hmm.
so he didn't have deeds or,
Right,
Okay.
right. Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
I think she's
Okay.
fine.
She's fine, and it's just this piece down
Yeah.
here.
I'm not, it's never happened before. I'm not sure the process of giving the money back.
No,
I mean, I don't see why,
If you said it's not county fund yet,
not try,
so how
I
come
think
you just can't direct the treasurer
Okay,
and
that's
say,
why-
well,
that's why I
we need
wanted
to
to-
fund the money?
yeah, just refund the money.
I think that's what I think. I mean, right.
I mean, give them the money back. I mean,
Well, hey, since we got the building inspector here, going forward, you said, so this don't happen anymore. Isn't it somewhat of your duty to make sure when you go out and inspect the building that it's in the right place? Or does that not, that may not pertain to you at all?
Yeah.
So, or you just checking the structure?
Right, I got something constructed,
Just to do the structure.
Yeah, because then I'd actually have to survey or.
You'd have to go get a survey, go to court, I have to do some more.
Right. Another situation too, Bo, that happened, the reason why it's come up over on Dutchtown, that someone put a mobile home up. The footings had to be inspected. He goes out and inspect the footings. And the mobile home company put it too close to the adjacent property.
So it's-
They meet the
it's-
setback.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of people blame, well, hey, you should have told us. He doesn't know where the line.
No,
He don't have a
wouldn't say
clue.
for no line.
That's right. That's right.
He was just there to inspect the foot.
Right. But I believe if we put something on that application to say, hey,
So
But-
something we've done in the past is foundation survey for if we have concerns about flood zones. So sometimes you'll have a parcel that's part of the way into a flood zone. So we'll do an elevation point on a survey to show that where the structure's going doesn't require flood insurance.
Yeah, it's.
All of which starts with the boundary survey. So again, you go back to how big of a parcel you want to require them to have a survey or not require.
Well, either way, I
I
think
think,
I
I
have,
think, I don't think it would be ethical to tell somebody that's gonna build a house out of cash money out of their pocket. Or whatever their lender required to say, hey, you gotta have a survey. Now you
How
can
do
pay
you-
for a survey.
How do you confirm setbacks?
So confirming setbacks,
Mhm.
so, during the plan review, during the permit application, we will have a site plan, but that's typically just for,
Sketch.
confirming that the zoning permit is going to be able to be approved. But Melissa just has on the plans, the folks, they will show where the building is gonna be set. And it'll just designate how far away from the edge of the property it's gonna be. And
So what's the
Set
set,
verified.
what's the setback on a home being put in a conservation district from a public road?
I have
That's
to
100
defer
feet,
to-
that's 100 feet from the edge of the property line. It's the same standards that's applied to the A1 district. So C1 is 70 feet from the rear, 100 feet to the front property line, and then 50 feet on either side. But they put up in an accessory structure, it's going to be 50.
What is zoning C1?
I'm just thinking about those,
Conservation.
thinking about those homes on Lewis and Blank.
well, if, why don't we do that then? Put it on the application process. Just ask a simple question for a copy of a recorded deed.
Copy of the recorded, of the survey?
Yeah.
But what about if they got it? We can't force them to pay for a survey if they don't want to, they don't need it.
What about the plat book? I mean, when
Well, then you go back to that old cherry tree,
Mhm.
if it's never been a survey on. Or like Steve said, a survey that never was recorded.
Yeah, so if they don't need to borrow,
Yeah, if they wanna pay out of cash, why are they gonna pay a couple $1,000 for a survey? You should be made to tell them they got to do that.
yeah, but I mean, but for our purposes, I'm saying just to have that question on that application.
With an acknowledgement that if you're not surveyed, it's your responsibility for the location of your home.
Right.
That should be on anyway, if we're taking that site, sketch anyway.
There you
The other thing that can happen down there on Hungry Town is lot 27 needs to be reassessed with the improvements, and then the tax bill's right. And if that had happened 10 years ago, then it would have already resolved itself. Somebody's not gonna pay tax on an improvement that's not, they're not in.
Oh,
So
absolutely
they would have
not.
said, hey, wait a second. And then all of a sudden, everybody would have talked. They would have figured it out.
I just don't think it's that easy.
All right, we can get the, and we'll get a comment on there, Mr. Chairman.
But again, on that disclosure, on the tax sale, it says, you do your research and you bear what you're buying.
James Elliott was very helpful in his letter, other than telling us something we already knew, right?
Yeah, and I had a good conversation with him, he's it was a hard conversation, we all right though, but, we're gonna lose his fees, that's just what it is. He's gonna get his fee, because as far as he's concerned, it meets all the criteria of what he gets paid for.
There was tax owed on it,
Right.
county sold it, collected the tax.
So he still gets his fee even though he didn't do it? Is that old contract that the county had with it? That in the tax sales, he's gonna get his fee?
He did it, he sold it.
He sold it.
It
Oh,
was-
I thought you said that the treasurer sold.
no,
It's
no,
two
no.
different types.
I'm
Two
sorry.
different type of real estate sales that we just got recently involved in. We got the James Elliott trustee sale, and then we got the, you read it there a while ago, what is it?
Non-judicial.
Non-judicial, which is totally excludes him out of it.
Oh, I thought that was part of it. I misunderstood.
No, that
No,
is,
well, he did the auction for the
He
non-judicial.
did the auction.
why?
He did the auction. He's the one that does the auctions.
Not for the ones Tammy do. A lawyer told me that Tammy can do that and you don't have no trustee oversee that.
I don't know anything about it. I just know.
Yeah, that'd be
I
a question
was
for the
at the
attorney,
auction.
but an attorney recently told me in the last 2 or 3 months that since we started doing that, and it's certain things.
The treasurer's able to do it.
That's exactly right, up to a certain dollar amount. I think that dollar amount, maybe 15,000, maybe.
Again, the point is the county was owed tax, there was a sale, we got our tax.
The seller paid the fee, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they take the fees from the proceeds of the sale.
Mhm.
Oh, I know another thing, a judge on hers does not have to approve the selling that real estate, if she does. If James Elliott does it as a trustee, a judge's gotta sign off saying, yes, we believe we got fair market value. I ran into a deal up on Sunnyside, then I bought a parcel, and I thought I swiped it. The judge said, no way, I'm gonna let it sell for that.
Uh-huh.
Took me a year and a month to get my money back, James Elliott. But if a judge, if the treasurer does it, a judge does not have to sign off on it. But as I said, it's a certain dollar amount, and anything over that, you gotta have a trustee to do it, such as James Elliott.
You might not know that.
Yeah, we need to ask the lawyer to confirm that,
Mhm.
but that's what was told to me by an attorney.
But yeah, okay, all right.
All right. All right, well,
But I was hoping she was gonna be here tonight.
I can speak to that. Tammy misunderstood your communication with her. She thought she was supposed to be here Thursday night. She has a child with a medical appointment today, so she will come Thursday, but I can address several items with that if you want me to.
Okay, I thought we sent her an invite on the calendar.
She was.
All
prepared to
right,
come
yeah, so
Thursday.
the next one is, you need to comment on, we okay now, I think.
all right, so the school state revenue, to the general checking, that was with that as well.
You comment?
Tammy met with the auditors, and to give you a little background, y'all know several months ago, the board made an agreement and a decision to allow the schools to get their revenue to be sent direct to the school. And we have since reviewed it, and Tammy sat down with the auditors, which she was aware of. And there are a lot of issues with that. The auditor commented that, let me see what she said. Said that they can keep their checking account and continue to process their accounts payable and payroll, but she has to transfer what they need at the time. But she is supposed to be notified to transfer the money. And lately, they have not been notifying her until after the fact. She's supposed to get a check register, which she'll go into that on Thursday night. There's several issues that they need to communicate that she wants to convey to the board. But one of the other issues is cash flow because of the way the money is being sent out now. One thing, and the auditors brought this up, schools cannot invest money unless it's in capital improvements. If that money is in a capital improvement account, then they can invest it. Otherwise, the school currently has $3 million sitting out there and they're not investing it. If we had that money and not giving it to them until they need it, then we can invest that money.
So they're not supposed to be drawing interest.
That's right, because they're like a nonprofit. So the board, when Tammy went back and looked at it, we're losing, what was it, Steve, about $120,000 a year in interest by our allowing them to get this in advance. So Tammy's going to come to you Thursday. We need to talk about pulling that back. And
Has there ever been anything in writing about this?
It was an MOU that was done and the board voted for it, the previous board.
That's when we, yeah, that's when we were.
But the
it
MOU,
was
no,
never
it's
signed.
never signed, probably because the board was exiting, two different boards, I suspect that's what happened, I don't know.
And we're not trying to be hard to get along with the school and don't want it to be perceived that way. But because of the way the flow is, it's gonna hurt and impact the county at the end of the day, a lot financially. And two, it raises red flags, why do they have that much money sitting out there? And I don't know their financial position right now, what budget, what's in what. But they've got $3 million sitting out there that we could have investing and getting interest.
Tammy mentioned when we met, finance committee met, that she's not getting from the school system what they're spending the money for, et cetera.
Until after the fact.
Yeah.
And two, she's had phone calls about certain checks like from the bank, and she wasn't even aware that it had been sent out. So it's something that can be cleared up, but they need to discuss.
But the bottom line, the school can keep their own account, like
They
they
can
got.
keep the account,
and
but
they can
we
pay.
need to keep the money until
Until they need it.
they need,
The large,
instead of pumping it out every month like they've been doing.
because it's creating a really
a big cash.
big
flow
cash flow problem. We're sending out 500,000 a month.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. With all due respect, the school's money belongs to the school, not to the county. Any money that comes from the state is designated for the school system, not for the county. And the understanding that I believe the previous board agreed to was that state money would go directly from the state to the school's checking account. Now, understand that the Virginia Department of Education and others never had lumps in the oatmeal, and it was just recently resolved so that that could happen. The LCI, completely different. The LCI, however the county chooses to determine how it's paying the LCI, that's on the county. And currently, in this fiscal year, there will be a small amount of federal money received, not grant money. Grant money is federal money, but grant money comes with strings because we have a ROTC program this year in the school system. So there's $55,000 or $56,000 for the school year from the federal government. That also should go directly to the school system because it's not county money. Now, I appreciate that when Philip V. negotiated with the school system for the school system to take it over, it was because the county was in trouble. Bills weren't being paid, so on and so forth. In fact, this board transferred $2.9 million and then $900,000 to the school system. Why? Because the school system used their money to pay debt that wasn't being paid appropriately by the county. That's a simplified way. I mean, no, I'm not casting dispersions on anyone.
That makes sense.
That's what physically happened. Now, to revert that because you think the school has money that it can't invest because of state requirement, and we're only allowed to invest a small portion of that money, our debt load is greater than the county's when it comes to employment. Every month, we spend $1.4 million to sustain the teaching staff in our school system. $1.4 million. State money comes what, on the 15th and the end of the month? I don't know what those numbers are. They don't share those with me. But currently, I believe prior to this going direct into the school's account, it had been money, if it was received on Monday, it was transferred by the treasurer on Tuesday to the school system. Now, if there is a problem not getting data from Heather Meyer, Dr. Grimes, or the board, because I'm just a member of the board, I'm not the board, I'm a member of it, we're more than happy to step in and solve whatever problems that might be. But it was brought up months ago when Philip V. asked to have that done. I know who brought it up because I'm sitting in the chair. I said that the county would lose investment capital if they transferred those monies. At the time, that was the solution to the county's problem. I'm not absolutely confident that this board can undo what's been done at the state, Virginia Department of Education, and the others that allowed that account to be changed so that it would go directly to the school system. I thank you for the opportunity to say so.
Mr. Chairman, I had a small conversation with Mr. Abbott about this. This is what I do know. The school and the administration is on two different account systems. Ours is the Bright system, we call it. Just so you know, because, and the auditors told me this at their own mouth. Once that state and federal money comes in, It doesn't go under our general fund. We call it the Fund 100. That's the number. It's 100. When those state funds come in for the school, it goes under 201. It's earmarked for them, and we can't do anything else with it. But I think she's looking for cash flow. I mean, that's what it's all about. Anyway, I'm not gonna speak. That's what I wanted Tammy here at a work session, so we could have a conversation. But Logan Presley made it clear to me, when that money comes in and done, they see it and they go 201.
Well,
Okay,
see,
you can't tell, it's the schools, it's earmarked, period.
Well, this is my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. The $500,000 we've been giving to the school system is the local amount,
It's the
not
local amount.
not the
That's LCI.
state or the federal.
You're correct. That's
It's
LCI,
What does LCI stand for, sir?
local
They're
composite
giving the
index.
state.
Yes.
The 500,000 is a low, which we don't have to give to debt.
Until it's due.
Until they need it.
Prior administrators always waited until the.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and when we met with the school board in a joint meeting, Heather in a meeting said that we're supposed to spend the local first and then the federal and state later. That's what she said.
Why?
Well, I don't know, but
According to the, if I may, according to the state, local money has to be spent in concert with state money.
Right.
In concert. So they have to be spent simultaneously along that way as you support the school system.
As it's spent or as it's transferred?
Now that's two different things. The transfer of money, according to the MOU that's not been signed, and I brought that up several times with those people who should have signed it. The MOU says at one time it was 11 equal payments so that they didn't have to make one on the 12th month, or 12 equal payments. I even suggested to your gentleman over there, wait till the 30th of the month. Give it at the end of the month, not the beginning or the middle, at the end of the month. The school has money. I'm the guy that created Dump and Spend, right? So I monitor what's going on. How you pay that, if you were to set back and say, well, look, we're going to hold this money back because we have a cash flow problem in Nottoway County, that could impact state money that comes from generated from the state to give to the schools, that goes directly to the schools. The old Ronnie Rourke theory, spend federal money first, state money second, local money last, so that any money that's left over at the end of the year is local money, was a good thought process, but it's not what happens in actual practice.
All right, so look, we're gonna move on, but Steve, what do you think about this and board members? How about if you can quarterback, get your treasurer, get the school's treasurer in a meeting and get this thing hammered out?
Okay. All right. We'll work on that. Okay.
And that way you have I mean, they're the two that's handling the funds. And that way, and I don't mean this disparaging, but the less in the room, the more them two can talk. And then if you
If
need
that
to
count is
get-
earmarked, if that count is earmarked for the school, it can't be used in any other way than for the school. That won't have, that shouldn't have any, just common sense, me thinking, shouldn't have anything about no cash flow problem for the county, because that's not even the county's money.
That's right.
The county can't use that money to put a light bulb in or to make payroll to his janitors.
But another issue in this
Or gain interest on
discussion,
Okay,
another issue in the discussion was they can't tell us what part, Dickie, you heard it. They can't tell us what part is state money, federal money, or local money.
So,
Who is they?
so,
The school has.
all right, so,
Tell us
so,
was spent, which category.
so my conversation with auditors, so I
Money's fungible.
to auditors and VACO's email consultant that Mr. Van Norbeck had brought in from the county. The auditors and the consultant said, if you owe the school $6.5 million, let's just use that number, then you got to pay that $6.5 million. But you got to earmark it doing through the year. And you got to prove to us that you paid that money. But when I said that we have to pay in sequence with everybody else, parallel to everybody else, the state and federal? He said, absolutely not, and no other county does it. Now, that's what the auditor told me out on his lips, and the consultant. So that's two people I've asked. Now, I haven't went to another county and asked, but I'm just telling you what they asked told me. And they told the same thing to Tammy.
All right.
So I don't know.
All right,
We
let's
should
move.
find out about that because that's
That's
fact.
big time.
Yeah, that's big time.
All
The
right.
same auditors will be telling the school the same thing, I would hope. Because it's,
That's what I told them. I said,
it's
"You
the
need
same
to-
auditors audited the school.
But they are on a different accounting system, and that's probably true. Heather does not know because she can't see our bright system.
Yeah.
You know, and I wish somehow we could do that. I think that is the answer. Let her see the system and see, oh, okay, our numbers getting transferred, just like, because, I mean, she knows accounting.
Right.
And so I think that's where you hold this.
You think if you can see the system, you can tell what money is state, federal, and local?
On the bright system, when you put it 201, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
Coding is
Right.
the key.
The coding.
So somebody knows that thing.
I can code that 6 million point 5, and long as the school's getting that bills paid, and you can buy a CD. But in that bright system, it's 6.5 for them.
I got you.
Okay,
I see what you're saying.
so I'm just.
That makes, I see what you're saying.
Okay,
All right, zoning ordinance, the solar ordinance.
Okay, Mr.
oh, you pass this around.
Yes, sir. The attachment on the board's draft for this is something Mr. Ingram sent me, from Charlotte. And it talks about things that we don't want to have happen and things that we should be aware of. On page 3 of this handout, and then there's just some comments in the paper or whatever. But it just talks about, for instance, the landfill and their solar waste in Charlotte County, removal of hazardous substances in addition to equipment, no PFAS with heavy metal toxins, and so forth and so on. And then compliance with updated stormwater regulations, and I believe we already addressed that with this existing ordinance, but what else might be coming out. Okay, so I want to give that to y'all. The second thing, Mr. Ingram had also asked me about checking with Amelia County about the radiuses and distances. So I came out, I took a while to find it on Amelia's site. Let me pass this out. They do have, oh wait, where we do this?
Okay, just make sure I kept one. No.
Okay, so, page 2 of 11, under number F, density, no more than 3% of land area in any given 5-mile radius shall be approved for use as a project area for the utility scale solar energy improvement. Now, we're not doing utility scale at this point. We're still keeping it at medium scale. And for the purpose of calculating density, the project area according to the scale of solar energy system shall consist of the entire fenced-in area and the required landscape buffer zone. What Amelia does is also interesting. I highlighted some of these for you regarding setbacks, buffer zones, existing screening, vegetative screening of berms as alternatives or supplements to screening. Berming is very typical, as well as opaque architectural fencing for buffers between different uses like general business and residential or industrial and so on. So I just want to give hand this out to you all, just for your consideration as we move forward, because if I'm not mistaken, we had discussed taking this to public hearing at our October.
I had a
October, I'm out of town in September.
I had a conversation with a gentleman from Prince Edward, and he had attended a meeting, I think, that a solar company had in Rice. And one of the comments he made was the chief of the Rice Fire Department said, if those things catch on fire, I will not send my men. And John Shoup said the same thing when Steve had his meeting in Berkeley.
Because of the hazard being.
Yes. hazardous materials and everything. He said, I will not send my men in there. So you think about that if we have a fire.
Yeah, for
They've
the
had
battery
fires.
storage. Yeah,
They've
battery
had fires.
storage. And we have something in it. I think Mr. Hyde looked at that, when we first started this ordinance almost 3 years ago,
Right.
if not longer, prior to my coming here. But that was something about the battery storage, the safety.
Not the solar panel, but the battery storage.
Yes, sir.
What about the electric vehicles battery? Is he gonna send him
Same
in to
thing.
put the fire?
It's the same thing. That way, you know, they don't, you know what an electric fire is like.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be an electric fire.
Oh, yeah. I seen something that they came out with some kind of top that you put over top of the burning car to put the fire versus water or anything like that. Cause you surely can't put no water on it.
I don't know if they throw
Cause the
those
electricity
big,
coming back to the water.
if they throw those big batteries in there.
Yeah, well, she said, ask Buddy. She right, ask Buddy. What do you say, Buddy?
We're training on that now. The governor's mandated, all firefighters go to EV training. That just came out last week, so we've got it online. State has put a program together, and we're doing that now. I've been to the classes Dominion Energy has put on, what Greg's talking about. I've been to the solar farm fire classes. I've been to the, battery storage classes. It's case by case. If you want to Google it, Greensville County had a fire. You can Google it, read the story. It was a Dominion, I think, plant down there. So
But
it's some information out there on it.
But what I propose is that y'all take the time and just kind of look over that stuff, or you're always more than welcome to come in and we can sit down and kind of go over these things, and I'll give you my opinion as always, about what we might want to consider, but I do think we should have at least 1 or 2 work sessions, you know, incorporated into your normal work session.
All right. Okay.
I certainly don't want
All right. Before we jump into the manufactured home
Oh.
stuff,
to.
all right, before we jump to the manufactured homes, before I forget it, Steve, you were asking about ad hoc. Bo, you'd all been working on some of that stuff. Do you want me to run with you on this
Sure.
while we're doing those other things as well with the tower and stuff?
Yeah.
All right, so that'll be your ad hoc that you
Okay.
need. Just let us know when you need it.
All right, guys. Thank you for going back to that.
All right, and then we're on the manufactured home.
Okay, and I have one more after this, and very, very brief.
Okay.
The manufactured homes, all I wanted to ask the board of supervisors is, if you ever look at the agendas I send out, or just the packets, whenever we have meetings, they're always about, there's special exceptions for people who want to put a manufactured home on their property. I have a real issue with that. What I would propose is that we make them by right, because we want to bring people here, as we've had in our July or work session last year, when I invited the Habitat Community and Manufacturers Association and the other groups to the EDC. But it's my feeling that it's easy, it's more business friendly or resident friendly, instead of people waiting 60 days to go through the process of putting a manufactured home.
You've got one in this work, in this Thursday,
Right.
and if she didn't have to go through that process, we would have realized that the old trailer stood there.
Right.
And 9 junk cars.
Yeah, and that's an exception, and that's definitely an
And so-
exception.
I mean, I don't know that we'll see what I do Thursday, but that
Right.
property can't stay like that. It's really
Well, no, and what I put in my staff report is that we addressed that, she and I spoke about it, and they're gonna remove the existing trailer,
Go to work.
work with her.
There's no date.
Yeah.
There's no date.
Well, I know, that's for y'all to tell me, you know, how many days do you want? 60 days, 90 days, or whatever. But she's got, I think it's
So
60.
you do single wides, use by rate, double wides, use by rate,
Well, it'd be a manufactured class, it'd be a class.
frame
A.
modulars?
Well, modulars, you don't need to go through a process, they're permitted by right.
So that's
As long as
that's
they're,
not in your
as long as
definition.
they have an industrialized sticker on the exterior of the structure, we're good. Now, there's another way to approach it, is to do it administratively, where I go out and I take site photos and things like that. And if there's an issue with it, I would kick it up to the planning commission and the board.
Is that what you did in this one?
No, sir.
She
No.
provided you those with pictures?
Oh, I went up there, I always.
So you did go up and do it?
Yes, sir, I always take the site.
I'm fine with
Okay.
doing the administrative, as long as you build the document what's there.
Make sure it's transparent.
That would have, it's gonna help with setback situation. If you look and you say, well, that's pretty close to, here's a stall in the ground. So you know what the line is.
Yeah, interestingly, kind of tying to item number 4, they always give me surveys. Either Clayton Homes is going to do that, or they
Clayton
provide.
don't want to put the house on the wrong place.
Yeah, darn too.
Yeah, because
So-
they.
But that's the point. I mean, I'm
Right.
getting that verification from them for
So
those.
Clayton's been there before.
So,
Yeah.
not the first time. But, okay, thank you for that. And I can bring it up, at the October meeting of Planning Commission. I have no agenda items, for next week, nor in September.
Okay.
The last thing I have is I want to propose, a new special exception use. It's indoor events. We have outdoor events. I spoke to a property owner, for Little Road on the north side of 460. They approached me about doing an indoor, training facility for baseball. And I think with the right standards, design standards, on the exteriors or whatever, nothing really fancy, but make it fit. We might want to consider that. It'd also generate revenue. And it would be by rising general business, light industrial, and general industrial.
Yeah, I think the closest facility like this is one in Farmville.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're always talking about economic development, and for me, it's, let's look at the small stuff. But,
Every penny helps.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yep.
okay, are you guys?
As long as it says recreational, and you got that on here.
Yes, sir.
You know what, when we had at the other county owned property that happened in somebody's building because they give a permit. The bowling alley.
Yeah, that, I didn't want to raise that, and I'm
I don't
sure.
mind, Ray.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was reluctant about adding bowling alleys to this because it says, well, I don't know if our other one was even permitted. So
Right.
indoor game room, it's kind of hard to consider that. That's what I guess it was called. But anyway, thank you, and I'll bring this to you.
Circling back. I meant to ask you about this a long time ago. Over the last 18 months, there's been several instances where duplexes were approved by planning and subsequently this board. I believe there were 2 of them last year.
Yeah, Frankie's.
One
and the one at the.
one was.
One was
Nursery house.
Nursery.
Nursery.
One was not approved by planning, but it was
Approved by the board. What's the board's feeling about duplexes by right?
I think it needs to come before case by case.
Planning commission.
I think that's
To
what
leave it the way it is?
And on this thing here, you got shoot ranges. All these will be case by case too, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, yeah, I've never put
Because
anything.
if you let somebody put a shoot range up close to me and I have to hear them shooting over there inside of a building, I ain't gonna like it.
Yeah. And I will,
No,
I'm looking at
yeah.
that too. But, I want this to be something to where we attract, good businesses that, benefit the community.
Well, see, and that's one of those things, boy, you never know when the surrounding neighbors may say, everything's fine, we don't want to shoot. It's kind of like what happened out next to where Mr. Abbott lives out there, they got horses and stuff like that. They wanted to put a firing range out there,
Right.
nobody wanted.
Right.
So, yeah,
So
like
that's
you
what
said,
take
case by case. Yeah,
Right.
so they may get everything and not be approved for a shooting range,
That's right.
you see, so, but just,
Thank you. I just want to let you know, my goal, for the speed of the zoning ordinance is to have that draft. Bless you.
Thank you.
In the planning commission's hands by the end of the year.
Okay.
And I'm just doing it on my own, and then I want to take it back on, talk to Mr. Ingram, and the Chairman Perry about how we proceed, for review. So I'm being pretty strict with a lot of things, but also being very liberal with the business uses.
okay.
Because we've got too many things in general business that are special exception. And for all the strip zoning we have for general business on Cox Road, on 360 and 460.
We'll work through it.
Yeah,
We'll work through it.
I just don't see why we need to put them through a process.
Okay.
So that's all I have for you. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right, Steve, on the real estate tax abatement.
I'm going to, so we did, this went in front of this went to Mr. Elder's firm, and I think, Catherine Douglas had worked on this. She had mentioned us that we had to have the abatement, real estate tax abatement program first. Well, you could, help me out here, Ms. Kelly, you were in there. I think we can have a public hearing for both of them at the same time, can't we?
That's what it said.
But they come in.
Yeah, but you gotta adopt the abatement
So,
first.
so the abatement, lighter buildings, that's what the changes that they've made and this, the other one, the abatement of tax for renovation of demolition of derelict buildings is to your right. And I had Nick was reviewing it some today. Is there any comments you had on it, Nick?
Yeah, not a whole lot, just a couple of questions.
You
So,
say, yeah, not a whole lot.
I like it. Hurry up, wait.
That's what we like, Nick, not a whole lot.
yeah, so really, I mean, I think that this is great. It looks like this is what we needed. I just reviewed in Title 36 what the requirements were as far as adopting the ordinance. It looks like that's covered all the bases, but just a question that I would have would be, under this, letter A, it says at such times, or at such times as the board of supervisors may prescribe, what would be the process to initiate this? So,
The owners of property within the county shall at such times as the board of supervisors may prescribe some of the plan. So what do you,
We're looking for, we're not gonna have somebody out riding the roads right now.
It's gonna be complaint based.
It's gonna be complaint based, so if there's,
is that
in the
something
case of the crime,
should be put in the ordinance? Is that something that?
well, it's got may, the word may. As we get into this, and if we get into when we've declared one and their taxes go up a little bit, that money can then start going into an account, because there's gonna be some expense that the county's gonna bear if we have to carry what they have.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got to kind of slow roll into it. But it, you know, particularly on the criminal blight, this gives us the teeth that we need
Oh, yeah.
to stop this.
I think we need to explain to the public exactly what this is. Because I read the comments on Facebook, oh, no, you're gonna run people out of the house, blah, 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 and I'm like, you people don't understand what this is supposed to do.
That's right.
Sheriff is called 15 times to the same location for the same criminal acts. That's one thing. If the sheriff is called there once or twice, that's something else.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. They say, oh, you're gonna take people's house away, you're gonna make them move out, and it's gotta be explained to the public. They really, like I said, I saw the comments, and I wanted to comment, and I said, nope, Dickie Ingham is not gonna comment on something on Facebook. But it's, we've gotta really make sure that people understand it.
Yeah, and I think we will, especially once we get to the public hearing and everything.
Right.
We'll make sure it's pushed out, correct?
And that actually is addressed specifically. It says that it has to be vacant for 6 months, boarded up, and it can't be lawful, or it's not lawfully connected to electric or utility service provider. So as far as the criminal blight.
So I want to understand the abatement of the tax. So I have a house that's boarded up, and the county sends me a letter, so you've been declared blight. I say, okay, I pull the permit, and I've gotten a quote from an excavator, and it's $10,000. So then I go ahead and do it, I tear it down, and then that $10,000 gets carried forward for 15 years. That's I don't have to pay tax on $10,000 less than what my assessment is. How does it work?
10,000 less than what your assessment is.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
$10,000 worth of tax.
that's what I'm trying to figure out. At the request of the property owner after demolition or renovation, this is letter C,
Oh, you know.
of the derelict building, the real estate assessor shall reflect the fair market value of the demolition or the fair market value of the renovation and reflect such value to real estate tax assessor records. The real estate tax on an amount equal to the cost of demolition or renovation shall be abated for a period of not less than 15 years. The tax abatement is transferable with the property. So I'm assessed for 100,000, and I spend 10,000 to tear it down, and now I'm 90.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, but it sounds like to me, it could be that you get $10,000 tax credit. So if your tax was $1,000 a year, you don't pay nothing for 10 years to get your $10,000 cleanup fee back. Because otherwise, if you look at it like that and you pay taxes only on 90,000 and 45 cents, 10,000, you ain't
All right,
getting
so
very little back to pay that demolition.
it says the real estate tax, so it's not assessment.
So it's a tax
Tax.
dollar.
So $10,000 for 15 years.
Would be less money you have to pay in real estate tax, not less value than assessment.
That's right.
Does
They
the
still gonna
10,000
pay the taxes, it's just what the 10,000.
Is the 10,000 divided by 15?
I would say it is. And I would say that, just guessing, I don't know, somebody needs to clarify that. I would say that 10,000 is 10,000 money is used that you normally would pay the real estate taxes for, not 10,000 less in value.
But you've got a 1 acre lot that's worth
$6,000.
$6,000. And I spent 10,000. I spent 10,000 tearing it down. So then over the next 15 years,
They still won't get the money back. We need some
I
clarification on that.
don't quite understand what cares for 15 years.
We need an
Must
explanation.
be something in the code.
Yeah, it's probably because,
So we need an explanation for C.
Yeah.
see, how is the money I spent to tear my house down treated over that 15-year period? Is that reducing my tax bill?
It's done if they can give us, even if they need to give us an example, say this is how this
That's
is.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just,
Right.
just some, write an example.
John Smith,
Yeah.
paid $10,000 to
Yep.
the house down, and now his tax bill is reduced by this amount over the next 15 years.
Then that's the same type of example. Once we start pushing this information out to the public, we can share that information as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll get some verified. Okay.
All right, the MOU for the CARES donations.
I know Ms. Norton had mentioned that about getting a policy. Gary Elder is working, I think you might have been in on that conversation. He said that he would work on an MOU. He thinks we don't really need another policy. He thinks we just need an MOU.
So, and I told Steve today, we need to add Nottoway for Pauls
Yes, yeah.
to the MOU.
Yeah.
The MOU is going to not only talk about money coming from the CARES donations, but it's going to talk about liability as this shelter becomes more of an adoption center and the possibility of volunteers. So the MOU is going to talk about liability. And I had a thought the other day that maybe we need to require not only CARES and not only Pauls to carry some liability insurance, naming the county.
Is additional insurance.
Additional insurance. Obviously, if they want to adopt dogs, then you've got to have people there on a Saturday morning for a couple hours. You got to put it on your website. So when somebody drives down, I guess, well, go adopt this dog, then they know that there's going to be somebody at the shelter. Like, in the evenings, however they want to do it. But I don't think with our two animal officers, we've got the ability to meet the needs of a shelter that's going to be doing more adopting.
It's 4 of them working there now.
There's 4
Two part-time,
Two part-time.
2 full-time, right?
But anyway, as part of the MOU, it's going to talk about liability. What do you guys think about the insurance, the additional insurance?
I think that's a great idea because if
Put that
they get
in
bit
MOU.
by a dog or grandma brings a granddaughter out there and the granddaughter gets mauled.
Well, that was always your concern.
Yeah.
So additional, a liability policy of $1 million or $500,000.
Whatever the going standard is.
I'm thinking they also are gonna have training for those people. They're not just gonna turn anybody, they're not gonna let me go in there and start.
And they
But we
should.
need,
I
but
think
we
that's
need
a
to
good
have that
idea.
in, we need to have that in our
Yeah,
MOU.
you know, the volunteers,
Are
they
expected
should
to
be
have been
trained volunteers.
Vetted, yeah, vetted and trained,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right?
But we don't have it yet, but we can mark it up when we get there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
10.
that's good. Get some printed. Okay.
All right, Steve, and you had some, I guess
Yeah,
about
just,
the.
I know you were looking for the Citizens Diversity Committee. I thought we changed the name of that. Sorry.
We did.
That was my fault.
Commendation committee.
Commendation.
That's what it was.
I'm sorry. I printed that wrong. Accommodations Committee, if we can get this IDA first, get these appointments first, and then we'll take a strong look at that. Really hard to get people to volunteer and try to help you out,
All right.
Anyway, Mr. Chairman, we can go to number
Yes.
10, and I'll keep number 9 on the agenda for future work sessions.
Okay.
Review auctioneer RFPs. Bowie came by and looked at those RFPs, and I'll let him, get a little more depth. But one of the big questions that came up is if you had a no sale and what the fee is, and it looked like, and they call it names, it looked like one of the companies look, I think it was local, it was from, maybe in the Cambridge area, looked pretty well, but we hadn't decided yet. So and I don't know if we got the last answer to that question yet from that company.
I'm not sure either.
Right. But we're very close with, if Mr. Toth and myself make a decision on that and recommendation, would the board be okay with that? It was 3.
Has the reserve been set or discussed?
Excuse me, choked him up. Doing that one.
Was it not a appraisal done on that property? I thought we did. No appraisal done?
Can we use the
But
reassessment for that?
Didn't it? Yes. That's what I had suggested. You know, it usually reassessments like 30% over that. Oh, go ahead. You know, typically speaking, if I was looking at it and I think I discussed this with you or you, John, or maybe Bill, but if I was looking for it as a real estate investment in the means of rentals, and I expected to get $5,000 a month rental income off of it, then I would be expecting to pay about $500,000 for the property. Same token, if I want to get, you know, kind of how I do on that.
Well, that's a 10% rule, and that as a buyer, that's what you're looking for, because you know the rents are actually, you got extra 2 months and it's at 12.
That's right.
But you got vacancy.
You got vacancy, taxes,
repairs.
upkeep. So
maybe
back
it's
to my
worth
question,
it might be worth 620.
did we get the full rental potential for it when they raised it out?
I don't think you've gotten the full potential for it since 2016.
Okay.
It was built, what, 12 or 13? Do you remember?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a functioning bowling alley.
It was early.
From there to when the car accident,
Yeah.
wrecked the bowling alley. Okay, so that period of time would be accurate. And then the car wrecked in there. And then you took all the time to get it fixed. And then COVID came. You were shut for 2 years. And then we said, okay, we're going to run it out. And then we had other things.
Right, maybe not so much of it.
So you haven't had actual family bowling and elite. There used to be a league over there. The bank had 2. We'd go over and bowl.
Another
That was a
question I think
function-
about reassessment is county-owned property assessed.
Yeah, I think all of them. Well,
County-owned
with the
pro-
exception of like the courthouse and buildings like that. And I mean, I think anything that is a commercial site being used for,
I don't know. I've never considered it.
I have neither. And does the county pay taxes on their property?
no.
I wouldn't think, because they get the money back if they
County-
give it.
county and
So
state
my
government
question is
are
to that is why would you pay to have it assessed if you're not gonna collect all
Because when you go to the bank.
that? I knew you didn't pay no taxes on
When
it.
you go to the bank and you need a loan, you gotta give what the assessment.
No, you don't.
That's right. No,
No.
when we just applied for the radio,
Uh-huh.
Steve said that's part of the,
That's right there.
part of it, because you
The
gotta,
collateral.
you gotta list the net worth of the account.
That's right.
So he's got a number from someone.
Because they had to put up all the collateral.
So
But
I think based on, if Bo and Steve want to make the decision on the auctioneer,
Well, it'll come to a recommendation.
we need to have, but we need to have a board discussion about the reserve
Yeah.
to make sure we all agree.
My biggest question was, talking to Steve, is it'd be no sale fee. Cause a lot of companies will charge you
Yep.
half of their bid price. If we wanted 700,000 for it, he got the
And some
five,
will, and
your
some
sales
of
guy want half of
and some of them will just want the expense. So if they
it.
advertise.
Yeah, advertising. Yeah.
$5,000.
And 2 of the 3 said that that they're gonna get a buyer's premium.
That's what we want.
That's right. Then it was cost, but that hampers the price of the unit.
I don't like that 180 day thing.
No, that's the one we can kick out. We ain't gonna do that. They said if they don't sell it, they like to list the part name.
Did
I
you
would
tell
not-
them, we'd like you to sell it, but you're not getting it for $100,000?
No, because they gave it a proposal up front. Why would I go to a company that didn't mention nothing about that?
Why would you negotiate anything?
You're not. You're taking the proposal, you're not.
Well, you can negotiate a proposal. You can go back and say, hey, I want this and this.
But if the other
If you
company,
like something about
but if the other company's already saying we're not charging you for no advertising, we're not charging you if we don't sell the property, provided y'all want a realistic number. You know, if you want $1.5 million, why would they even try to sell?
Right.
You know, so they said, as long as it's fair market value, that we tell them and they
So you're saying you've got a proposal that's lining up better.
to, yeah.
All right, Steve, you got the relocation of the offices?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and board members and audience as well. So first of all, I just want you to know that we have spent, since December 2023, and I appreciate Nick getting these numbers together. We have spent $47,000 with trying to fix the air where it's breathable for the treasurer's office. $47,000. And I got news for you. If we keep her down now, keep that group down there, we're gonna spend another $40,000. So we know we got some renovations coming up, and we know the judge that's coming up as well. So I was trying to work on a plan to get, and I feel like some of your core people that definitely core for Nottoway, the complex, is your treasurer and your commissioner of revenue, and as well as administration. So I was trying to come up with a plan to start on, and this plan I'm giving you may be 2-3 years. You know, I'm not saying this thing is gonna happen overnight. However, I need the plan. The most priority is getting that treasurer's office out of that basement. Let's call it a basement. That's what it is. And what you're looking at is the front porch where the Virginia Cooperative Extension is located. So if you remember when we did our budget meetings, we came down the hallway, took a left, and then went into the conference room. Does that ring a bell, everybody? Okay. Let's just pretend for a minute that the school says, hey, Steve, you can move the 4-H and Cooperative Extension to Burkeville School. I mean, let's pretend the school board was easy to work with. They get a 5-0 vote. They're getting the money that we owe them anyway. That's earmarked right. Everybody's happy. Okay, let's pretend that. All right. If I could move them down there, if I could move down there, first of all, this drawing is low, and Nick, you come in. There's really a door right here, okay, with that right there. That's a door right there, and that's an office space. What I like to do is, and that's a temporary storage. That's like a pony wall or something that can be removed easily. This is old carpet through here. What I like to do is move the 4-H out, get rid of carpet, put laminated flooring, exactly what you saw at A&TC, almost exactly what A&TC. In fact, I've asked Heather to give me some contacts, and they also don't have a nice counter down there. So when somebody came in to pay the treasurer's taxes, they would come to this front entrance, take a right. They cannot go in this door. This is where you're gonna put the safe and all type of things right here. The public would come, and I'll have a counter from this wall to that wall. This is just like they are now. The public would be in this area with a couple chairs. Somebody needs to sit down, that type of thing. And by the way, we do have a handicap ramp.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask.
We have a handicap ramp down here. It's just a lot of walking for a handicap person. That really come out wrong. So what I'm trying to tell you is I got some things I got to do about a parking lot over here. I understand that, but that's not a showstopper. Not a showstopper. So let's go back.
Are the restrooms accessible?
Yes. Yeah. If right now they don't have a restroom in it for the general public.
When he says accessible, he means ADA compliant.
Don't know that one yet.
I don't think so. I went in one of them when we had our meetings and
No, you need to widen the doors, I believe, to get in there,
So
but
there's some expense there.
oh yeah.
Right, but yes, but if you make it to the general public, right now, we haven't made that in the general public. Again, they don't have one where they're at now, for the general public. But let's don't go there right now then. So Tammy's office can be here, her other two people can be here. Okay, let's just pretend I get that renovated and I relocate the treasurer's office. All right, already this right here, it's social services is working with me. This is a vacant office now. The CSA's been moved. Okay, I'll take these two probational period people right here, these two offices here, move them there. Okay, and then I'm gonna renovate these two rooms. And then I can bring Christy over and all three of her people can be right here. And I will renovate this conference room and make it a little bit nicer. Then I'll take these three people, this one, and this one, and move them to Christie's space after I get that ready for them. And then what you will have when the general public comes in, they'll be able to go to the treasurer's office. If they have a problem, they go straight across the hallway and see the commissioner of revenue. And when the judge gives me a court order to what I got to do, I don't have to touch them right now. I can do anything behind the court. I truly believe we can do something with that existing courthouse. I don't know what yet, But and now, of course, if we have to take Commissioner Revenue's place down, the probationary period, the probation people here, I would have to find another location for them if we have to do something to that building later on. But the bottom line is, we have got to move. I have got to, let's just pretend we don't have to do anything in the courthouse, but we do. I gotta get the treasurer's office out of there. Or we're gonna spend $50,000.
What we gonna do with the treasurer's office after get them out?
If I get Virginia Corporate Extension out of here, I'm gonna put them right over in here.
No, I mean, what are you gonna do with the old treasurer's office?
Just be empty space.
Then that
Oh,
place, it'll
well,
blow up and
good-
mold up in
good-
there then.
Well,
You're gonna be running a big dehumidifier.
good question.
They need to stay right. I
Right.
bet there ain't even one in there right now. How much was that?
$100.
Is it?
$100. I bet you.
I ain't betting, no, I ain't betting.
Yeah, I bet you $100. I went down
I'm
and
sitting
Go
here
over there and
nodding
get
like,
this
well,
thing done. I bet you.
So,
So you still have to be mindful.
but to answer your question, if Anna had to get him one. So
Got county
if
money,
there's a
man.
question, I could make it the maintenance, could maybe go down. I don't
And
know.
get rid of that raggedy trailer out
And
back?
get rid of the raggedy
See,
trailer.
he likes that idea. He didn't think of that.
That trailer do
That's
go down.
John, that's John's idea.
Does the treasurer have carpet in it then?
The
No.
treasurer, no,
No.
that's not. But I think, according to what our conversation was having, I think she mentioned that to me the other day too. The school is all, the light bulb is going off with them. Any place that's high traffic areas, you need to get rid of carpet. It's just not a good combination. And I think we can make this livable, and we can make this something that and I don't think I haven't did anything costly yet, but I think I can make this first move in this year's budget and not go up on your budget.
I say do it.
I think,
I'm
yeah.
Oh, I'm all for it.
The 47,000 in expense is just gonna be ongoing. That's
Right.
That's a bleed, so you just stop.
Well,
doing
and I think we heard it, maybe you didn't hear it, you heard it in the last, look, we gotta say what it is. The school has been very kind to us about not as charging as much down at the Berkeley School for the voters registration. If they would allow us to move the Virginia Corporate Extension down there, we have got to realize that we need to pay a little higher percentage of the electric bill
Oh, yeah.
and things like that. And they have been very kind to us on the
That's
last
fair.
year for that.
That is fair.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, before we make a quick decision without numbers, it's paramount that the health, safety, and welfare of our staff is met. And right now, there's a huge issue. But we all toured that school too, and in order to move people there, it's
Money's
gonna
gotta
be
be
a
spent there,
big
too.
expense. But we're gonna have to do it. It's better than building the building.
Right.
Well, I can bring a trailer in, but I bet, so Piedmont brought a trailer in and an office trailer, and one that we need. And then I got to make it handicapped. I'm gonna spend $130 bringing a
That's right.
trailer in.
That's right. We looked at that.
We devised a
We
good
looked at that
plan.
before for the registrar. That was outrageous. And it
It's a
didn't,
good
and
plan,
it didn't
but we
fit
need
their
numbers
needs.
On that move to Berkeley. That, I mean, y'all saw it.
Well, we gotta get,
all that.
we gotta have to get the school.
Oh,
Yeah.
And let me say this. I did meet with Terry and had taken him down, and I was hoping to get the print of the school because Mr. Abbott brought me a print a while back, and Andrea lost. I don't know what she did, but
I doubt that, buddy. I doubt that.
yeah, I threw her under the bus. But let me tell you what she did tell me, Ms. Lord. I thought it was interesting. She said, Steve, I can teach people how to start daycare centers. And that's in our, that's been one of our strategic plans. We're low on daycare centers. I keep canning, financial management, the elderly exercising, so to keep people from falling down. Since we're elderly community, they can utilize the gym, they can utilize the kitchen area. But I got to make that's another whole MOU with the school and because
Let's
some
make
of
sure this one's
I mean,
get signed.
Yeah.
It all hinges on the school except.
it all hinges on the school.
And
And
to the school's benefit, because then the space is being used and cleaned and
Yes.
and then won't further
because we
decay
did,
and
the school, you saw the difference between a school that is
use.
is
and one
being
that's not.
used and ANTC look very nice. And then we got to Berkeley and
Yeah.
you get into those back hallways, and there's a little moisture here and there's, all the floors coming up. So putting like used to a building, an empty building is always.
But Steve, I would hope that in the plan too, that once you get the treasurer moved, that we can take a hard look at what's causing the issue, whatever we need to do to that building, because you don't want the mold and grow.
Right. I can tell you, I will tell you, it's tunnels going to that building.
Right.
And those tunnels will need to be dug from the outside and completely abandoned and put concrete in.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just bringing in moisture through those tunnels, and that is a big problem. And I can't, and some people said, well, hey, move them to the B&B bank or whatever. Evidently, Andrea and Nick, y'all chime in. The Bright system is is a local system. I cannot.
You can't be that far.
I can't be that far apart. And that's why the school hella can't get to
Plus,
see it.
as much as they work with the administration office, they need.
Right. So, but anyway, so the first numbers you want to see is what does it take for the school? Well, first hey, it's no use me going for so many numbers. I can start the numbers, but we have got to get to the school board to see if they will be considered to do this, 2-year, 3-year.
Why don't the school board just give the school to the county so they ain't got that liability having to fix it up? Because surely we're not gonna go fix their own property up. I mean, you don't go run a house and say, hey man, I'm going to put you a new floor and new tile, unless you say I'm gonna let you have it for free for ever how many years to make an improvement. Is that building sought after the school still?
If Mass, Mr. Let me first suggest this. On the school board's agenda is to convert Burkeville back to a third primary school. Primary reason is Burkeville being empty. Now, there was a surprise. The school board got a bit of a surprise when it went into that building on the tour. Since the Feedmore is now in the building. That was unknown to the board.
Oh, okay. And taking a lot of space, by the way.
It was unknown to the board because, with all due respect to my superintendent and Heather Meyer, they think they're in charge of that building. Go to Virginia says the school board is responsible for buildings. On our agenda, because Crew Primary is at capacity and are looking for classroom space now for 2nd and 4th graders in Crew Primary. Now, the registrar has been in that office on a temporary basis for 5 years. And I know that there is no current plan to move the registrar out of that building. The questions, and again, with all due respect, if you take this to the superintendent and Heather Meyer, you'll probably get an okay. I would ask that it be brought to the board. I am a member, not the board. I am a member of the board. And with all due respect, I would hope that whatever the proposal is, and for whatever period of time, with all of the numbers and everything that has to be gathered together, be brought forward, because I don't believe you can move the treasurer into that office or the commissioner of the revenue into that office without moving somebody out of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Virginia Choir,
You have to move somebody out of it before you can move anybody into it. So that has to happen first. And your goal is to move them to Burkeville
and
Elementary.
Burkeville has to be.
And Burkeville Elementary has to be prepared for that.
So that's the first ask.
And at this moment, with what we learned on the tour, the board has some decisions to make. Because Feedmore at one time, yes, there is need in our community. But that was an outside activity twice a month. Now it's an indoor activity.
4 days a week.
4 days a week, but it's an indoor activity when it used to be an outdoor activity.
All right, so we'll do something. We'll get Steve to get this thing put together, get it to the board, and if the board's okay with it, we'll get it sent to all 5 of the board.
And let me say this too, I know Mr. Abbott he came to the meeting and said, Steve, thank you for the conversation. I appreciate our conversation. We had a good conversation, do a lot of brainstorming and thinking. look, the voter registration is a different beast, but I will say this, Virginia Cooperative Extension, and maybe Rose been an educator, they do partner with the school system a lot. I think she goes into, so it's not like I'm bringing something into the school that they still make me say get smaller or whatever, but I'm just throwing that out there too. Then the voter registration is a different beast. That has nothing to do with school system. But the Virginia Cooperative Extension, there is a partnership there with the school. She goes to their classes, from what I understand.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. And I've had this conversation with Steve. We've been frank with one another. We're open. We talk about these things. Your discussion is with your county administrator and the board. The discussion so far about the use of that building's been with the superintendent and Heather Meyer. Board's been excluded.
Mr. Chairman, if I drafted a letter, would the board be okay with this? I'm just saying, you draft a letter to the school board and request, identify what rooms I'm asking.
Yes.
And what improvements I will plan to do. And then Mr. Evans.
And then the board can
Have a discussion.
Okay.
have the appropriate opportunity.
We'll get that over to y'all.
Because there needs to be in that discussion a time frame, a window
Right.
that says in 2 years we'll be out.
Yeah, and it looks like right now, just so you know, when you look at the clock, it's gonna take me probably until, let's just say they said yes tomorrow. It's gonna probably be take October, November in that area, even to get the Virginia Cooperative Extension out of that. I'm not moving the treasurer's office when she's collecting taxes in November.
That's right.
November,
That's right.
December.
You're not gonna get them up there and.
Well, you'd be doing the upgrade.
A whole lot of work's gotta be done up there before you send somebody up there.
But I'm just trying to prevent spending $50,000 again in that investment.
I agree.
All right, let's roll on. The future.
You said something about the clock is
Suggest one
8:30.
thing. You could ask the superintendent if she wants to come to the board to surplus that school. You could ask the superintendent that question.
We will.
Why don't we ask the chairman that question?
Well, if you ask Sonny Abbott that question as a board member and as the chair of that board, the answer is no.
That you don't want it to even come to the board for discussion?
Well, no, you can, I want it to come to the board for discussion. I'm just one of those people. I'm just one of five, just like you're one of five.
But is Heather Meyer the person we gotta ask and he can come to the board?
Heather Meyer is responsible for the building. No, you need to go to the superintendent or you need to come to the board.
Okay.
But we have to include the superintendent, same as you include your county administrator.
Yeah, they are getting paid.
Yeah, they are.
And I appreciate your allowing me to say it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go to the future work session days.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that's in there. You know, we did this, we've changed, I don't know, we stuck with the second Tuesday. The downfall of the second Tuesday is, like, I'm trying to get ready for the board package. The idea is to get y'all ready for the board meeting, and it's Thursday. Right, and then I know this is strain on you because that's your only day off.
What we talking about, the changing dates?
Yeah.
And what's his proposal he wants to do? Cause it's coming back from,
Second Tuesday.
In other words, it gives us a week. See, this was one of the other things too that like on planning commission, they make a decision and then it's quickly in our lap. All right, so if we do our work sessions back on the second Thursday, what everybody was on anyway.
I think that's best.
Yeah, and I understand that it falls on the school work board meeting, but it's what's more beneficial to us. Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Y'all, I mean, and we do it, so we voted from with the whatever it's gonna be, so what I gotta do is, that's gonna be one amendment, when you say any amendments to it.
So that gives us a week.
Yeah.
We work session.
Gives us a week, that's right, right now, then, today you gonna get 1 day.
Right.
Okay, y'all, if I can't put it
I
on.
don't have a
the
problem with that.
You know, I think it's a good idea.
Second Thursday. Yeah, it makes, it starts simplifying everything. Work sessions, board meetings, Thursdays. Yeah, and I mean, it's, I appreciate it, you know, trying to accommodate and everything, but yeah, also it's like, you know, you got a hell of a Tuesday.
Well,
before you.
He's usually hauling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's right.
So then maybe I can actually have a day off.
That's right. Okay, all right,
Mentally, I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, when you start tonight, and you say you any amendments to agenda, I'll say, yes, sir, we got a new business I'd like to put on the,
Right.
work session meeting night.
Okay. All right. Oh, and I want to circle back to something you were talking about earlier. See, we missed it. When we got to talking about, the Citizens Committee about the IDA, we need to get some clarification on how many is open, because as I understand it, there's 7 seats, 8 names, but 1 hasn't responded.
And the one that didn't respond has called me while I'm in this meeting. Okay, so I'm gonna call that person. I don't know, it's right late, but I'll call that person, and then we need to figure out, and let me get my numbers straight.
Okay.
It's seven, I think it's 7.
Seven.
Right, okay. And
So as far as having 2 names, we try to do this by district also. Is that correct?
well, this one doesn't, well, yeah, and you probably should, but actually, the planning commission is done by district. You don't have to with the IDA. You don't have to.
You don't have.
No, sir. You don't. In fact, they don't have to be in the county. They can be in adjoining county.
Really, to remain, whose districts are they in?
I think 2 districts that nobody's had anybody in there yet is District 2 and District 4.
So those are the 2 names that are out there?
No, they're not even in District 2. Neither one of them one of them is District 2. Both of them is not, they're both in District 2.
But see, y'all,
So I'm just trying to figure out how we make a decision.
Okay.
So one of them was contacted first?
Yes, one was contact first, didn't hear anything but they have returned my call tonight.
Subsequently, because we didn't hear anything, we contacted the second.
and they agreed to serve.
And they agreed.
Right.
But the first one was out of country and then followed that. So that's why it isn't phone.
But we also need to remember, it's 5 elected officials here, and it needs to be reflective of the 5 elected officials selected.
Yeah.
Whether they select somebody from a different district or not, because as I understand it, you can take, they can be in an adjoining county. Someone from an adjoining county, they don't have to be.
And of course, the ones that we already had, they served previously, correct?
Yeah, they served previously, and 3 of those were willing to come back. Because y'all asked me, well, when is the work session?
One of the things we talked about in January on these appointments was whoever's making the appointment should be able to present a small resume or small list of qualifications for the person that they're appointing. I know some of that we've done on some appointments. Right. That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
If you want the board to make a decision, between 2 people.
I said, if you had 2 people and then without using names, and that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to go in and.
No, we don't need to use names.
Right, that's right.
But we have to have some way to make a decision, whether, okay, he was asked first or she was asked, whoever was asked first. And we asked this one, and then, so now we've got 2 people that have said, yeah, we think. And we don't want to, we don't treat everybody fair.
Right. Okay.
That's our goal.
So let me just say, do you want me to tell this person if I do get in touch from this call, then, because I know there's another person that's out there.
Well, you can put 12 on there. We got to vote on them anyway. So if that person's interested in doing it, tell them come aboard and we'll vote.
You can't on this one, you can only have 7
You only have 7.
You can only have 7 on the board.
on the IDA.
On the IDA.
Right, but you got to vote on each one, correct?
Yeah,
So you can have 12 that would like, and then we vote 7 in.
correct, but how do you know which one to vote? I don't,
We
that's what I'm trying to figure
that we
out.
need to figure out a way that do we know these people?
You might be optimistic, think.
Well-
We can't get 7. I mean, y'all been pushing.
That's
us
what I'm
back.
just saying.
Right.
You said, do I go back to the person that just
I know
called
what
you in the
you-
meeting,
I
and
know.
if he got a definite, and he's been out of the country, he ought to have the opportunity by way of vote.
Okay.
If the other you don't tell the other person that you contacted, we don't need to make this other man call back. The board's going to decide amongst the 2 of you if y'all two in.
I don't like the idea of competition for something divine.
Yeah, this
Yeah, I understand.
this
That
right
makes
here,
sense too.
this discussion right here is going to prevent people from saying, I ain't going up there dealing with that.
Right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Well, I'll
saying?
tell you one thing,
So nothing-
we're bringing a bunch of them is having to disclose financial.
Yeah, because they got to give the financial information. And I just say that, it's 7 seats, 3 took them, there's 4 open seats.
And you got 2 potential people interested. Is that what you said?
Well, you got potentially 5, but,
And this person may be calling me and afterwards.
to say that
They might
they
say, I'm not
they're
doing
not
it.
even
Right,
interested.
right. And then problem solved.
that's right.
Probably get problem solved.
But see, a selection process is, I think it'll boil down to like, if let's say Bill said, Well, I got two that I want to bring in and names them. Well, then the question then becomes, should Bill be saying two or just nominate one?
I
You
think
follow?
at the end of the day, though, we were grasping because like all the other
Well,
committees.
we haven't had this problem where we had.
Yeah, we hadn't had this problem
Yeah.
and we need to get it done because we've got something to do that the IDA has to do
Yeah,
pretty quick.
Yeah, the goal is to get, I like to get it on the September docket to vote on and give you 7 names and you vote for 7 names.
Yeah.
And
that'd
then,
be the way to do it.
and then
And
we
it's
start.
either yay or nay for all 7.
Yeah.
Well, what about if it's nay? Do you have a backup nay? Oh, you said 7, vote yay or nay for all 7.
Well,
We need to be in agreement before the evening goes.
That's
That's
what
right,
that's what
that's
I'm
what
saying.
I'm saying. Indeed, I hate
That's
that.
what I'm saying. We don't even seem like we are picking between
People.
someone in this side of the county, that side of the county, and all in this district or whatever. I mean, I don't care if they will all come out of Burkeville,
Well, that
or
was-
Blackstone. as
That's the
long
thing
as
is we appreciate everybody volunteering to be a part of the program.
Right.
And so we want to make sure everybody understands. Right. We appreciate anybody willing to raise that.
That's right. Keep it simple. All right, well, Steve, the court ordered, collections, county versus state.
So I talked to Ms. Walters very briefly today, and she said the 2 things she said Steve, I will work on is which she said, and you talking about tickets, and she said, yeah, that can be done, but it may be strings attached to that. I don't know. So when she said strings attached to it, I was like, what do you mean by that? And I don't know, something that if you lose in court, you have to pay a fee or something. I don't know. I said, well, can you give me some facts on that? Okay, so she said she's gonna work on that. And the other one is I need her to let us know what's the next step with the LRA Nottoway lanes. Okay, so that's the 2 things. that
Oh, yeah,
she-
any like criminal issues?
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
2 things that it's in her court right now, but, so she said she's working by herself and that is true. And she's got, 2 administration people working in, but she is short of staff right
All right, so let me ask y'all this. I know you've reached out to her about that. As I understand it, just for clarification, I understand Burkeville is already doing this. Can we reach out to them to see if that's
Oh, okay.
accurate? To see if this is what Chief
So
Earl?
that's gonna be Chief Earl?
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Yeah, can we reach out?
And what did they have to do to get there from you?
Yeah,
And I
And
told
they're-
Mr. Welch.
I'm sure that they're primarily just, it's probably traffic.
that's right,
ordinance. Just
Right.
They're not going to do anything else.
that's right.
It's just a one-man department.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, and that's really what we're looking at. So if there's strings attached, you may could give us a heads up on it as to what,
Okay.
if the information I got is accurate.
We want the unintended consequence.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, well, we'll move on. Mr. Collins, you got any comments, sir?
Just working hard. We're trying to make the best decisions we can for the county now. I enjoyed, yesterday was a long day. I got to crew primary about 7:45, and we went through crew primary. We visited ANTC. That's a wonderful facility. Then we went on to Burkeville Elementary, and then I went to the luncheon that the school had. The food was pretty good. Had a convocation, and then I got to go back over to the school for the parking lot party as part of my employment. And that was a wonderfully attended event. There was a big crowd there. There was a lot of folks, a lot of fun. So it was a long day, but it was a good day. That's all I got.
All right. Did you have anything, Cindy?
No, sir, I just we'll make that phone call.
All right.
It's too late and I'll let y'all know what's happening. But,
Okay.
We need to bury that.
Okay. All right, Ms. Dingell?
I went back to the school for a convocation that I hadn't been to in a regular while. It was nice. I appreciate the invitation. I screwed up first thing because I went to Burkeville and was sitting waiting for everybody and everybody was at crew. I called, Steve finally called me and said, oh, we didn't crew. I said, oh, okay, I'll be there. So I enjoyed the touring of the schools. I think that, we've got an asset out there that we share with a million. And it's not being used to its potential. I don't know what can be done about that, but I mean, that is a nice building. It's got nice shops and things like that. I enjoy seeing what they're doing out there with the students. I remember when I was teaching, one of the problems was getting students to want to go out there because they were getting off their campus and they wanted to be around their friends all day long instead of half a day. But, that's another thing. I was kind of surprised at Burkeville wouldn't have thought that it would have been in the condition it was in. I think there's some problems up there that don't have to be solved, even if we do bring in, you know, 4-H and those people, ag people. But I like the proposal. We can make it work. To move 2 offices that really need to be moved. That's me.
Well, I think, one of these days, I think you and Bill might ought to have a conversation about something that we recently visited by the ANTC. But anyway, we'll leave that alone. Miss Norton.
Yeah, reiterated these gentlemen, the tour was eye-opening, was good. It was good to go travel with the other board and school board, and agree with Mr. Ingram's assessment on all the schools. Sorry I missed convocation. Sometime we have to work, So I had to go work in South Hill. But, and John and I had a very nice meeting tonight, impromptu. We went to the Career Town Council meeting and Delegate Lee Ware was there. And John and I had the opportunity to grab him as he left, and we talked to him outside about several things that we're going to pursue with Steve, and very, very, very helpful discussion.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, Mr. Toad.
I ain't got nothing. I gotta go home with a cat. Only thing I can say is I probably deserve a citizen, and I got a head cold. Therefore, I ain't gonna talk about it. But I'm glad to be here. You already got it. I think you give it to me.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. In the first part of the tour there, like y'all were talking about the school, clearly one of our main concerns was ADA, and amongst some other items there. So we'll work on those things. But again, and then meeting Delegate Ware, I would tell you this: that man supports Nottoway County. He does. He supports Nottoway County. It's good to have somebody in the corner. And I think, and I did when I was there tonight, just so y'all know, I said I don't normally speak for the board, but I felt confident in what I'm fixing to tell them, is that this board supports the town of Crew and continue to keep that water supply up there at the facilities. And they're working on that. They're working on the VCBR funds and stuff like that. So good conversations, and a good man. I mean, looks like he's got his eye on the ball for Nottoway, so appreciate that. But with that, y'all know we're meeting Thursday night, 7 o'clock. General District Courtroom, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All right, all in favor, signify by standing up.
All right. If I can stand up.
You okay?
Yeah, I got home. I got home. I'm gonna tell Bill, I got an appointment, I didn't know anything about it.
Question for you, Dick.
Yes, sir.
I went upstairs today. Jamie takes care of the septic records upstairs. Well, she's out with cancer right now, but there's a guy with a date on. And I asked him how can we find what the septic system is at the Votech. You want me to pursue that for you?
Yeah.
You want me to?
Please.
He said we need the tax map number. I'll get that from Susan.
Yeah.
And he said all I gotta do is give him some information and he'll dig through. He wanna know what year it was built. I told him probably
1980 was when the building was built.
40 some years, so
Yeah.
40 years, but he said it might take some digging, but
We have local
he got records upstairs.
Well, I'm gonna, I need to get in touch with Heather Meyer, because I told her I've got Abernathy's number, and I'll send it to her, so she'll know. No, just tell her we're pursuing that.
Yeah, tell him to do that, and I'll write him up.
Okay.
So we'll see if we can get it. He's got all the septic records and Nottoway.
Yeah.
Only even.
Sounds good. No problem. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed the tour yesterday. I really did.
There's a matching.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, and-
I mean, just walking the halls is good.
Right. So there would be 3 charges, $100,000. It's on town property. Hey, there's a real town property behind the square.
And they wanted you to sort of open up.
Because I thought, remember, we also
Right.
talked about.
Correct.
That's town property.
Exactly.
So they're
I was
matching.
going out,
Now, although, so we certainly try to get those.
talking about.
Now, when the crew and work days got. And now,
Yeah.
and that's okay. I don't know.